All right, everybody, we're live, hour 2 of 24 hours, celebrating Community Manager Appreciation Day 2016, which is the fourth Monday of every January. This is 7 years we've been doing celebrating CMAD since Jeremiah Owing had the idea of celebrating, taking a day to celebrate community managers everywhere. This is our fourth year of doing broadcasts around the world, letting people talk about community management, both on a local level and what it means to them. And 3 years of doing awards for community managers. This year we have over 300 different nominations that came in. Before we get going with the panel, what we'd love to do is just have everybody quickly on our side here in the studio introduce themselves, and we'll give a shout out to the sponsors, and then we'll get going. So, hi everyone, I'm Brew, the Director of Awesome with BTC Revolutions, and also co-producer of My Community Manager with Sherry.
Hey everybody, I'm Sherry Rohde. I am the Community Manager at Magento and co-producing Jerry.
Hi guys, I'm Kristen Cardos. I work in community with Convince and Convert and V3 Broad Suite.
Hey guys, I'm Rachel Miller. I'm a social strategist at Pure Matter.
Hello everyone, I'm Aaron Biebert, producer and director at Tensionaire Media.
Hey guys, I'm Barak. I'm the community manager for Meshfire and a couple of other small companies, and I'm super excited to be on here. And we are here in Seattle.
What up from Seattle? Hey guys, it's Dom. I am a community and project manager with BTC Revolutions, and stoked about CMAD.
Awesome. And so real quick, a shout out to our sponsors that kind of help everything get going for us for today, bringing it all together. That's Salesforce Community Cloud, Higher Logic, Online Community Results, Sprout Social, Vanilla Forums, Zoom, CommunityManagement.org, SocialMedia.org, Amplify Yourself, Igloo, an intranet you would actually like, Meshfire, and My Community Manager. So this panel is employee advocacy, the pros and cons of employee empowerment. And so Viri, we will turn things over to you. So thanks. Viri, actually you're muted, so you need to unmute yourself in the top. Just click the little mute button. There you go.
Now,
you're perfect. Perfect.
All right. So hi everybody. Hello from Finland. My name is Virpi Pietiläinen, and I'm a panel organizer of this panel where we are going to talk about employee advocacy. And this is quite a new concept, at least here in Finland, and it means that employees are personally supporting and promoting the company where they work to other people they know on social media or elsewhere. And well, in this panel we are going to concentrate on social media. And we will cover things such as why it is important, why employee advocacy is important, and how it is implemented in different companies, how to start it, how to motivate and guide employees to advocate, and if there are any risks in it. But we could start with introductions. So, well, would you like to start, Antonio, and then Hanna, Jana, Jens, Robert? So, Antonio, go ahead, please.
Good morning. My name is Antonio. I'm based in Cork, Ireland. It's 6 in the morning here, so we are all somehow in the different schedule on this panel. So it's I work for Atos, and I also do a Twitter chat focus on accessibility. So I'm here and as part of that, and it's a pleasure again to be part of this larger community, people doing working in community management.
Good morning. My name is Hanna. I'm currently based on Jyväskylä, Finland, and my job is to coach employee advocates. Also, I am one of employee advocates myself, and I'm here to talk about it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jana Nyström, and sitting here in central Finland. I am a community manager for a couple of companies, and I also teach companies and entrepreneurs and startups how to use social media to their advantage, and employee advocacy is one big part of that one too. Sometimes, though, it may be harder to get the bosses to participate in social media.
All right, it was my turn
Yeah,
then.
yes.
Hello everyone. Greetings from Helsinki. Only 8 in the morning, so not that bad. I'm in charge of sales and business development at SMARP. SMARP is we basically offer a simple and easy to use employee advocacy platform through which we inspire professionals to become influencers on social media. So that's in a nutshell what we do.
Then
Hello
Robert.
everyone. Yeah, thanks Virpi. Hello everyone, my name's Robert Brooks. I'm also based in Finland, about 100 kilometers outside Helsinki. As you can probably hear from my voice, I'm originally from England. I'm currently responsible for social media at a company called ITIM International, and we also have a sister company called the Hofstede Center. We provide cultural training for organizations and kind of empower these companies to understand their multicultural workforce and to understand people's national cultures and organizational cultures better so that they can reach their goals. And I'm happy to be here.
Okay, thank you everybody. So my first question is, why employee advocacy is so important? It's such a hot topic nowadays. So who would like to tell us why is it so important? Hanna, what do you think? Why is it so important?
Well, I think that it is important to listen to the employees. And while we listen, it develops a certain relationship, and that relationship can be used to market and build company image, etc. It's important.
What about you others? Do you have anything to add to this?
It's always better if an employee says good things about. Virpi, can you mute yourself? This is going around the voice. It's always better if an employee will give good shout outs in the social media for the company, because then for the audience it's easier to sort of relate to a person with a face and not just a company behind a logo on social media. So that's why employee advocacy is really, really important as client advocacy, but that's another story.
Yeah, right. So you say that it's important because it's personal and because employees can use their own networks for the company.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that if you think about employees and employees as individuals, then they have more credibility within their own networks. That it's one thing to get a message from a brand that you may be following on your social media channels, but if you think about your own networks where you've got your friends or ex-colleagues maybe or business partners or whatever, then you interact with these people in a different way, and so you have more credibility within your own personal networks. And then also it gives the company an extended reach, that a brand will have a certain amount of followers in certain channels, and they'll have certain channels that they have in their social media strategy that they're focusing on. But you have to sort of restrict that. You can't just be in every single channel as a brand, as a company. Whereas your employees, then they will be in all sorts of different channels. And so if you can empower your employees and activate them to share the company messages, then they will take those messages and share them with their own networks in places that your company couldn't necessarily reach.
Yes, true. I couldn't agree more. And today, all employees are exposed to any type of media. People attend events. People are sometimes even invited by customers to be part of webinars, conferences. So it's important that people are able to build a certain level of confidence when they are asked to be exposed or to participate in those media events. And because it's like Robert was saying, it's not possible for the company to be on all channels. It's important that all employees are somehow, at least as much as the company can do, be prepared to be somehow represent and be an ambassador of the company that they work for, in order to be able to mark the presence of the company on the medium that they can participate. It can be a very powerful and positive thing if you are enabled to your workforce in order to represent you in the multiple channels, and is also a way for the people to see the human side of the company.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Add a few points. I totally agree to all of these things regarding reach and trustworthiness and stuff like that. That's definitely important. One thing which I could add is employee engagement side as well. So when companies empower employees to read great content, to share their thoughts on the industry, their own jobs, they feel more engaged in the company with the brand as well. So they know what's going on in if we have an example, large global company, they feel more engaged because they know what's actually going on in the company, and so employee engagement, internal communications as well as some benefits.
Yeah, I totally agree, Jens. And then there's another thing I wanted to add as well, is that I know we're focusing on social media right now, but also this once you've engaged your employees and you've really got them on your side, then they take that with them beyond social media, into dark social. So, kind of emails and WhatsApp chats and whatever. And offline, down the pub or having a coffee with friends. And there's that element as well, that once you really engage your employees, then it's not just about the social media channels, it's about that kind of offline space as well, or that dark social.
That's very true, and they are much more committed and loyal to the company if they feel that they are sort of in the inner circle and they're insiders and they know exactly what's going on, like was mentioned here, and they feel they are part of a bigger thing. So that is really, really important. And I think in Finland now the people are starting to understand how powerful the employee advocacy can be. A year or two ago, it was, that no social media at work, and you're wasting your time. And I really do hope that CEOs and board members of the big companies would start to socialize on social media too, because then they would see what it's like and what it means for gathering knowledge, for learning more when they are benchmarking their competitors or people in the same business, or the local gurus or whatever. People can learn, and they sort of feel they're better in the loop if they are present in social media. So it is not a bad thing, guys.
Yeah, I would like to add that this is well-being thing. Being well in work. This is what it is.
Yeah, so you say that employee advocacy, that it will improve company culture, or maybe it also vice versa, that the culture has to work well before you can start employee advocacy. Well, would you say that?
Yeah, I think the organizational culture affects employees' ability in a way to take part. I mean, it depends on what kind of organizational culture you've got. I mean, if you've got quite a restrictive organizational culture where the managers are kind of limiting the amount of time you can spend on social media, monitoring what you're doing there, or if they just don't advocate it themselves, like Jana was saying. I've had experience of this where you've got upper level management who don't see the point in social media, or they think that it's a waste of time. They think that people are posting cat videos on Facebook all the time at work, and maybe they're doing that, but they're probably doing lots of other stuff as well, networking with people. So I think it depends a lot on the organizational culture, that what kind of freedom and trust the organization puts in its employees. I think trust is a key issue. If you have an organizational culture that trusts its employees and says, look, okay, be on social media. Even if your job is not in social media, whatever you're doing, then you can be on social media. And if you want to talk about the work that we're doing as a company, you want to share that with your friends, that's great. Go ahead, do it. Whereas a company that says that, no Facebook, no Twitter, no whatever, then that speaks volumes about the company, and that's not good for business.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good point, Robert. In general, I think that employee advocacy is basically all about individuals. So if done correctly, there is a huge positive kind of thing. But then if employee advocacy is just viewed through a company, that okay, we are as a company doing employee advocacy, it's the wrong kind of approach. So it should be all about employees, and so that the employees understand the individual benefits of actually being an employee advocate. So if they don't, they will probably not participate, and it's the wrong approach. So definitely talk about individual benefits. What is it for the individuals? What are the benefits for them?
I think when we are a company that have a presence all around the world, you have people from South America, Asia. They are all part of your company community. You find that somehow, even in the world of digital, you see people are at different cycles and different levels of awareness. So it's important. We found that it's important for the company to support employees in the way how they see digital, and also building them with some level of confidence to go online and to understand the importance of social media also for their own individual personal brands. And you find that it's now when you have so many tools, what tool should I use, how should I be present, is also important to provide that layer of support and help them how to use tools, how to understand their own analytics, how to sometimes know small tips and tricks and best practices in order to build them some confidence and the way how they can not only communicate about the company that they work for, but about how they talk about themselves, how they create networks, and the way how they create relationships online.
Very true. Good points. And also stay away from religion and politics. The support is really important, and it shouldn't just be a set of rules coming down from the management. One should have discussions and ask the employees if it's possible. I mean, with some huge companies it may not be, but on local level anyway, discuss about the employee advocacy, ask who would be interested, and arrange training and coaching and about being in social media in general, and then about being in social media as the face for your workplace. And that is of course a bit limiting. I mean, you don't want to post the drunken pictures in Facebook anymore and maybe you should clean away the previous ones. A new profile is another possibility, creating a new profile, but the support, the instructions, the help is more important than sets of limitations, in my mind at least. And I don't know, how would you get your employers to start being positive about your workplace, your company in social media?
we are ruining Virpi's questions here, but I think that every company should be fascinated by their workers, by their employees, fascinated about their well-being and career goals. So that is how employees should be encouraged for employee advocacy. Get fascinated by them.
I agree, Hannah. I think, well, I mean, it's well known that companies' employees are its greatest asset, and I think you're absolutely right that companies should take an interest in their employees, and not only in their well-being, but employees as individuals. That we all have our own background, we all have our own cultures, our own stories, and that that diversity is also a benefit. It gives the company great strength, and this is what we do a lot of in ITIM. We deal with these cultural issues that, like Antonio was saying earlier about, in a big company, a global company, you've got people from all over the world, all different kinds of backgrounds, different kinds of cultures, and that has to be taken into consideration. You have to sort of focus on that when you're trying to get employees involved in an employee advocacy program, because it can have an effect that some employees from certain cultures, then they may find it much easier to be on social media, to talk about themselves and to talk about their company. Other cultures, not so much. It's not the same around the world. For example, a culture like the UK, where I'm from, then we're quite kind of individualistic. We don't mind talking about ourselves. We don't mind kind of putting ourselves out there. Maybe even more so in the States. But then there's lots of countries around the world, lots of cultures where that's not okay. It's not done. It's not part of the national culture to do that. And so that doesn't mean that they can't be part of an employee advocacy program. You just need to understand their culture, where they're coming from, and then develop the program to suit them so that they can become an advocate for your company.
You already gave some advice. Could you give some more advice how companies should start this, and how companies should motivate employees for employee advocacy?
Well, around we internally operate like a social network, so we have internal communities dedicated to support the way our employees can go online, where we share best practices, suggestions, where we provide content, and we help people to create their own content if they have to. So we provide that level of support through a community of internal ambassadors and training, where people are able to go, reach, and find the information that they need if they are interested in being part of an event that they are going to attend, and they would like to promote and talk about that event. We organize that community in the way that people can feel some peer support from their colleagues when they need to go online or represent the company.
Good points there. I would like to come back to what Jana mentioned earlier about the open communication and discussion within the company. So by discussing and by talking about the benefits both for the company, the individuals, and discussing the whole shebang in general, that's where it's that's basically a good starting point. Then obviously training is another point, that it requires training, coaching, as Jana mentioned as well. Then after that, obviously some tools which help and enable active participation. And then in general, in my opinion, it shouldn't, employee advocacy shouldn't be limited to a certain amount of people. Companies should allow and kind of make it possible for all employees to participate if they want to do so. So in general, at least in my opinion, a company can't possibly know which of the employees in the organization would be willing to speak about their jobs or the brand or whatever. So make it possible, enable it for the whole organization, and then obviously have have some training guidelines on how to do it the best way.
Definitely. I think that training needs can be mapped. Everyone should be able to be employee advocates, but the needs of training, just ask what channels are they using, what training do they need, what do they actually want to do. Ask, always ask.
No, that's a good it's a good idea to be able to provide a space where you try to help the employees with whatever they need to do instead of being a top down. So it's interesting that you are able to facilitate a space where people are able to build the confidence in the channels that help them in the channels of their choice.
Quick add, community manager for employee advocates. Good thing.
So what would you say, are there any benefits for employees when they are doing this, when they are working as ambassadors for a company?
Well, they get, for instance, they brand themselves as knowledgeable, professional, and should they ever change a job or something, they have something to show in their CV when they share their social media channels. And also, I think if they get to interact and engage the clients and perhaps potential clients to the company, of course there is the satisfaction of having done something to create business for their own company and securing their jobs that way too.
Yeah, and I think also this idea of social capital as well. Kind of like Jana just said, this sort of like personal brand. You know, you start to build your own personal brand, and you kind of you become, or you can become, the face of the company. I mean, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be the CEO, the top guy who's face of the company. It could be some much lower level employee, but if they've got a strong presence in social media channels and they've got a large following, then they can become the face of the company. And that brings with it a lot of social capital. You have a lot of clout. You know, and I'm not talking about the clout score. I'm talking about actual clout. You know, you what you say and what you do in your channels and in your own community, then that carries weight.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it depends on the role you are as well. I mean, there are definitely a lot of different benefits for individuals, and I mean, depending if you're a salesperson, what is the value, for example, of you have a huge network in LinkedIn. What is the value of the network if you never kind of engage with the network? So, for example, as a salesperson, there are definite benefits of growing the network, engaging with your network, keeping yourself in top of mind of the network. Let's say you're a recruitment person, definite benefits of growing the network, recruiting better people probably. So depending on the role, I think there are a lot of different individual benefits with being an employee advocate.
I think at the level of personal development, social network can be a very good way for you to develop your own skills and improve your knowledge about what is happening in your space of interest, even in other areas. So we commonly do a good number of Twitter chats where people are able to engage on specific conversations on certain topics, and by the fact that they're able to have those discussions, they're able to improve their skills, that they're able to develop their knowledge, and that's something extremely valuable today in social networks. Instead of just focusing on sometimes on marketing, I think the personal development side of social networks can bring great value to employees that are willing to participate on this type of discussions.
They are also developing their team while building the company image by employee advocacy. They are pulling new talent into the team, and I think that is a benefit.
Yeah.
Okay,
Also,
so
I think.
yeah, go on, please.
Thanks, Virpi. Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing that kind of going back to what Jens and Antonio were saying, that I don't think it's just about the kind of the role that you play within the company or what your position is within the company. I think that in this kind of working as an advocate for a company, then as your networks increase and spread, then you start to make these kind of serendipitous connections with people. That there's a lot to be gained from making connections with people who are not in your field or are from dissimilar roles. That you can often kind of gain access to a different community. So if you're concentrating on sales and your social network is full of salespeople, then that's great. But the information within that network can become kind of everyone knows it. Everyone knows the same stuff. Whereas if you can make connections with people from completely different networks, then they get information from your network, you get information from theirs, and that can be incredibly valuable and spark new relationships and then extend your network. It's not just about being within your space, it's also about kind of connecting with people from completely different spaces as well.
Okay, sorry about this light. These lights go out every few seconds, so every few minutes, so I have to move a bit here, but it's okay. But I think it's manageable. So what kind of contents you think that employees should share? Like should they produce their own contents or some company contents, or what is your opinion? What would you say?
If they are able to produce their own content, of course, that is really, really good. I mean, if they should be able to blog, that is really great, because sharing company blog posts directs more people to the company website. Taking photos, that is also great. We all walk around with a camera in our pocket or in our handbag nowadays with smartphones. And but if somebody isn't, cannot write or something, so that shouldn't be a hindrance, because one can also curate content, set up a Google alert for some keywords, find stuff about your own area in the internet and share other people's blogs or news articles or whatever. So as long as there is a buzz, I think that would be ideal. Of course, if somebody can write, yay for them.
I think that companies should curate content for their employee advocates, and that content should be thought by via buyer personas, so that every piece of content isn't necessarily for everyone to share, but there is a thought process before sharing, that it is interesting content, it is needed content that strengthens the personal brand the employee is building.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, even if the company kind of empowers people or wants people to share content, deep down employees will share content that they truly believe in, that they value, and that kind of they can relate to. So that's the kind of, in my opinion at least, is why or what kind of content people should share. It's not about what they will share content that they believe in, and it's not up to the company. Obviously the company can curate content and kind of offer great content to the employees, but deep down they will make the decision what they share based on what they value, what they see valuable.
Yeah, I agree that you can't force anyone to share anything. That it has to come from the employees themselves. Otherwise, it would simply lack credibility. If you're kind of forcing content down an employee's throat and saying share this, share this, share this, then that's not going to work. It's important to have a broad range of content. You've got a company full of different people who are working in different roles with slightly different interests. then have a broad range of content so they can pick from that themselves, and then they can decide, like Jens was saying, they can decide, do they want to share it? But it's key that there is content that's available that has been curated by the company, and there can also be content that's curated by employees as well, but to have a kind of a repository of content where it's been given the green light, it's ready to share, so that employees don't have to start worrying about, oh, is this okay, can I share this, can I say that? It's there, it's ready, there's a broad range of content, and then they can find what's interesting to them, what's relevant to them, ideally what's relevant to their social networks, because that's going to have the best kind of traction in their networks. Take the piece of content and share it.
Okay, time moves on, so we have to go on. So we also have to cover this issue that what would you say, should employees be allowed to share negative opinions about the company on social media, and if so, what guidance should they be given for this? And do you think that there are any threats from implementing and promoting employee advocacy? What would you say?
I can start by, I mean, in my opinion, the question about do you allow people to share negative stuff on social media is a bit odd, because I don't think it's the decision of the company to choose. I mean, if somebody wants to talk something negative, they will probably do that. Obviously, I mean, you can guide them on from the company's perspective what kind of what would be the best way to do. But anyway, I think it's down to the individual to make the decision, even though whatever the company communicates, that is.
Exactly, and if, like we were talking earlier about the instructions and openness and talks about the content that the people could share, then everybody should know already at that point what to share and what not to share. And of course, it depends on the company. If the employees are very disgruntled and unhappy, there is a certain risk, of course. But openness, talk with the local management, I think should take care of that one. Or what do you think?
Yeah, it's all about the culture once again. Take care of the negative things so they are not going to share negative things. Well-being, people, well-being.
Well, I think we may be talking, we are talking about sharing negative content, but at some stage, not all negative content is bad in a certain sense. Sometimes, a negative content could be part of a discussion. What is important is employees have the support in order to be able to know how to manage when that negative content arises online. You need to be able to provide them with messages that are able to somehow have that message under a certain level of control, where the employee feels that when this on that topic, he is empowered in order to manage and reply in the way that somehow in some situations can have some sort of damage control.
That's a good point. The negative comments don't necessarily come from your own employees. Of course, they can do. Employees as individuals can say what they want on their own channels, but it may be that when one of your employees posts something about your company, and then their network starts to post a reply in a negative manner. And I totally agree with Antonio that giving your employees the support in how to respond to those kinds of unpredictable negative responses, then that's really key. And having a kind of a support network at work that allows employees to respond in an appropriate manner, and having an open organizational culture so that they don't try and ignore it and hide away from it, that they can talk about it at work and say, okay, I posted this comment, now there's a conversation going on and people are saying horrible things, what do I do? And have help ready.
Yeah, exactly. It's really important that they have a person to go to when they need to ask questions. So companies should really dedicate someone who is responsible for the employee advocates and who is knowledgeable enough in social media and in the business of the company and in the inner things also, that they are able to help and they are able to tell that, okay, now there is this bomb coming up in the social media, what should I say? And then they will be able to give instructions and help and, okay, do you want to deal with it or should I? And maybe step in if it's getting, you know, a bit hairy, the situation. So yeah, I agree definitely.
Yes, we don't want that, you know, that employee that goes online or starts to do something for the first time, end up for, you know, for some reason in a sort of a negative spree, and then, oh, this was my first and last time. So nobody wants that.
Yeah, that's very true. That's an easy way to get rid of an employee advocate. throw them into the fire.
Yeah, so you said that employees should be, they should have some freedom, and it's down to individuals that what they share, but they also should have guidance, what to share, what not to share. So they, and maybe some responsible person who helps them if they have questions about this. So there you gave some advice. So yeah, please go on.
So just it's important to give advice to employees when they're part of the employee advocacy program, because it's kind of easy to assume that, okay, you know, everyone's on social media nowadays, everyone's got a Facebook account, and lots of people are on Twitter and blah blah blah, Instagram, whatever. But just because you have a Facebook account and you sort of, you know, chat to your friends on Facebook doesn't mean that you know what you're doing in terms of an employee advocacy program. So you need to have this. You need to have lots of training. You need to kind of hold employees' hands, as it were, to begin with, and show them what's okay, what's not okay, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, this kind of. Because ultimately they are individuals. They do have complete freedom to share what they want in their own channels. You just need to steer them a little and give them some advice on how best to do it for the company. Because once they become an advocate for the company, then they are, and particularly if they get a following and people start to recognize and put their face with the company, then it's not a good idea to start posting those drunken pictures that Jana was talking about, you know.
I think that support needs to be continuous. It isn't enough to have one Twitter training, because there are going to be new social media channels and new problems or things that need support. Guidance should be always there.
Absolutely, an ongoing process all the time, ongoing process. And also the person who's responsible for the advocacy program, they don't know everything. I mean, come on, we all work with social media. This is changing constantly. Who knows what's coming tomorrow? So, you know, we're learning all the time, and then we have to hand that knowledge down, so to speak. And I don't know everything. You know, I'm sure there's a person in work who knows something I don't know. So if we talk, then I learn, then I can share, they can share, and that's what this is all about: sharing the knowledge.
Yeah, a good idea would be to have an internal either Facebook group or using whatever tool that the employees could also use as a platform for discussion, a sort of social media employee advocacy intranet. And then people can ask and discuss, and maybe already if there is a bomb brewing somewhere, negative feedback is seen around. So that would be also a great place to share that knowledge, that, okay, look out for this and this now, because I can smell trouble brewing.
Yeah, actually, we're doing that at the moment, Jana. We're using Slack. We've got a dedicated channel in Slack for all social media issues. And if someone's got a good idea, or, well, not necessarily a good idea, any idea at all, or they want to talk about things, they want to ask a question, then, you know, it's all in that same channel. Everyone has access to it. We can all see what people are thinking.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it doesn't depend which tool it is. We are using Google Hangouts and Google communities, internal secret communities with the companies I work with. But it doesn't matter which platform it is. And I know everybody in this Hangout will be using something, but we're trying to push the information outside that they should have something. It would be a really good idea to have something where the people can discuss in peace.
Yeah. Our time is almost up, so we could start to summarize this panel a bit. So the title of this panel was Pros and Cons of Employee Advocacy, and we have covered things. So we have thought here that employee advocacy is very important, and it's beneficial for companies, and it's beneficial for employees. And guidance is important, and communication when you are planning it. And what else would you like to add if we summarize this together? So what important things we have covered here? What would you like to add?
Well, I think the most important thing is that the advocacy has to come from the employee. I think we've all said this during the discussion that it has to come from the employee. You can't force an employee to share anything, and if you do, it'll show. You know, it's got to be genuine, and then it has credibility, and then it works.
Yes, you are there as the facilitator of conversations, and you are there basically to empower your workforce and those willing to be there present and to talk about whatever they're doing and what the message of the company is about.
Give support and give examples, so there won't be a share a bot army parroting all around the interwebs.
Yeah, and I could say that enable access, easy access to great content. So curate a lot of different content, make it easily accessible for employees, so that they don't have to use time to actually find the content. So that would be my conclusion.
Yeah, let the employees be open, because if someone is fake, the people really do see it quite quickly, and let them be themselves. Let them message out in their own style, in their own way. Don't put words into their mouths. Let them be themselves. I think that is quite important too, if you want to have the engagement, because all the people are different and they have different type of following. So especially if they have already grown that following before they start the employee advocacy, it is really important that they shouldn't drastically change their style, but be true to themselves.
Yeah, I think this was all from us, so it's good to stop here. So thank you everybody for watching this. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks everybody, and we'll see you in the next hour. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.